Hello, welcome back to the kitchen. As you might have guessed, today we are making roasted potatoes. I do have some garlic roasting in the oven right now. As you may have seen, it's roasting at 350 degrees and it's been in there for about 40 to 50 minutes. You are supposed to leave it in for 40 to 60 minutes, so I think it's done now. Alright, we're just going to let this sit here on top of the oven to cool off. I'm going to open it so that it will cool off a little bit faster. Alright, I've also got my potatoes here. They're all chopped up. You may have seen in the video I was showing you how to look for bad spots, cuts, or eyes, and cut those out. The reason why you want to cut out the eyes, which is the spot where the potato starts to sprout out, new sprouts for new potato plants. The reason you want to cut that part out is just because it doesn't taste as good as the rest of the potato. And also, I made sure that they were all pretty much a similar size. That's important to make sure they get cooked evenly. Alright, now as soon as our garlic here is a little bit more cooled off, I'm going to put it into our potatoes here. By the way, the roasted potato recipe that I'm going off of today is from Ina Garten. I am changing a couple of things. The recipe calls for just taking the raw garlic and chopping it up fine and then tossing it with the potatoes. But I really like the roasted garlic a lot better because I like the flavor when it's roasted, and also it's a lot easier to get the garlic out of the little papery skins that it's in when it's roasted, which you'll see how easy it is in just a minute. Okay, and then we have to toss these with a 1/4 cup of olive oil, and we're also going to be using a teaspoon and a half of I'm going to use the Himalayan pink salt here. Any coarse salt would probably be good, like sea salt. The actual recipe calls for kosher salt, so I think any of those would be good. And we're going to use a teaspoon of black pepper. I'm going to grind my salt into this little cup here so that it'll be easier to measure it from there. Alright, I've got my little cup full of salt, so I'm going to measure it. I'm not really going to bother to measure the pepper, I'll just guess. Okay, I also had the oven set for 350 from roasting the garlic, so I'm now going to turn it up to 400 to roast the potatoes once they're ready. Okay, now here's where I'm going to be a little different from the recipe. Instead of putting the olive oil directly in my container of potatoes and just tossing it, I want to combine the olive oil with the garlic that I'm going to get out of these garlic cloves. And I'm going to do that in this little bowl by whisking it together. Alright, so now it's time to take our garlic out. Alright, so this whole thing is one bulb or one head, and each little individual compartment is a clove. Right here. So normally it's a big pain in the neck to get this little papery covering off, but you can see once it's roasted, it just comes out so easily. It saves you the trouble of having to dice it also. Because we're just gonna squish it like a paste and whisk it into the oil before pouring that over our potatoes. In a minute here, you're gonna hear a beep, and that is gonna be the oven hitting the 400-degree temperature. I don't know, everyone's oven's different, but my oven will beep when it's preheated to the right temperature. You don't want to put your food in until your oven is preheated to the temperature that your recipe calls for. Oh, there it goes. And the other thing you can actually do is just squeeze it out, like squeezing Play-Doh through one of those tools that kids use to play with the Play-Doh. Just squishes out like a paste. Alright, now I can't put these skins into the compost like I normally would because they're all oily and we don't put oil products into the compost. And I'm just gonna use the edge of my fork, or the back of my fork, to squish them. Just try not to think of anything disgusting that this might remind you of. Just think about how good the final product is going to taste. Oh, I almost forgot these little green tops from the garlic. You might have noticed when I cut the garlic at the beginning, it was actually starting to sprout. So I'm going to put these little sprouts in here too so we don't waste those. And we're going to be using 2 baking sheets. I'm going to line mine with foil just because it makes cleaning up a lot easier. And we're going to be roasting these potatoes for 45 minutes to 1 hour. And we are supposed to open the oven up and stir the potatoes around twice during that time so they don't stick and they get evenly browned. Okay, and at the last minute I decided I'm going to put some dried herbs in here too first. Alright, this is what I have left from the garden from the summer. This recipe actually does call for, after you roast the potatoes completely, to chop up some fresh parsley and put that on. I'm out of my dried parsley. I think there is still some fresh out there that survived the snow, so I might go out later and see if I can get some of that. But if not, at least we'll already have these dried herbs in here. And just now I put on rosemary, and right now I'm doing the sage. I'm just breaking it up like that. And I have a little bit of thyme left here, so I'll add that. Alright, and I did my best to scrape everything out of there as much as I can so I don't waste any of the oil or the herbs. Alright, now I need to spread our potatoes out evenly. We don't want them all bunched up, otherwise they won't get as crispy or evenly baked. Right, back to the oven can. Because I have 2 trays here, I might want to consider switching the 2 trays when I open this in a few minutes to shift the potatoes around, I might want to also consider flipping my trays. Okay, the potatoes have been in there for about 15 or 20 minutes. So I'm going to go in here and stir them around a little bit and then put them back in. And this is always very hard to do without ripping the foil. Alright, so now I'm going to spread them back out. I kind of forget which one was on the top and which one was on the bottom, but they seem to be sticking more on this one, so I'm guessing this one was on the bottom. So I'm going to put this one on the top rack this time. Okay, we are back. I did not record the second potato shuffling session because I think you got the picture the first time. But they should be done now. Alright. Ooh, they're whistling. They're happy potatoes. Okay, yep, they're done. And you can tell that they are done because they are brown, but not burnt obviously, but just nicely browned. Alright, so I'm going to let these cool down, and then I think I might serve them with some tomato soup with Parmesan cheese. I think that would be very good. Let me know how you like to eat your roasted potatoes. I hope you had fun in the kitchen today. Have a great week, and I'll see you again next time. Bye!